private investigator exposed my wife after she claimed she was visiting her best friend. Just another crazy story from Reddit. Working graveyard shifts as an airline mechanic means I'm usually dead tired when I get home at 6 a.m. But that Friday morning in September, something felt different. The house had that strange emptiness to it, even though my wife was supposedly sleeping upstairs. I dragged myself up to shower, and that's when I noticed the bed hadn't been slept in. The sheets were pulled tight, hospital corners and all, exactly how they'd been made the morning before. A single earring lay on the nightstand, not one I recognized. Over coffee, my phone buzzed. A message saying, "Stayed at Lisa's last night. Got too late after girls' night." This wasn't the first time this had happened. These girls' nights with her best friend had become a weekly thing over the past 3 months, sometimes twice a week. I remembered yesterday's conversation, just going to help Lisa pick out new curtains for her living room. Simple enough, but now, looking at social media, Lisa had posted pictures of herself at her mother's house 2 states away. The timestamp? Right when they were supposedly shopping for curtains. The next week, I started paying attention like a hawk. The stories didn't line up. Lisa and I tried that new cafe downtown, but the credit card statement showed a charge at a bar in the opposite direction. Just running to Lisa's to drop off some books, but the car's GPS showed a 45-minute drive to a town I'd never been to or even heard of it. Each explanation came with a smile that seemed suspicious when she said it. Each late night brought a different story. Lisa needed help with her tax paperwork. Lisa's going through a rough patch. Lisa's redecorating her entire house. I'm not stupid. I knew something was wrong, but knowing and proving are different things, and I needed proof before I could face what was happening. One night, I pretended to leave for my shift, but sat in my car down the street instead. Within 20 minutes, headlights pulled into our driveway. A blue sedan, not Lisa's red SUV. My wife got in, and they drove away. That's when I knew I needed help. Not from friends or family. This required someone professional, someone who could document everything legally and properly. I couldn't risk confronting the situation without solid evidence. Too many people I know rushed in with accusations, only to end up looking paranoid and destroying their relationships over nothing. The next morning, I made a call to a private investigator. It wasn't cheap, but peace of mind rarely is. And as I hung up the phone, scheduling our first meeting, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Control. The investigator, a former police detective, listened without judgment as I laid out the patterns I'd noticed. 3 months of changed behavior, I explained, pulling out my notes. Weekly girls' nights that don't match up with her friends' social media posts. Strange charges at places she claims she's never been to. And now, this mysterious blue sedan. He nodded, taking detailed notes. What kind of schedule are we looking at for these outings? I handed him a calendar I'd marked up. Tuesday nights were becoming regular, sometimes Fridays too, always when I was supposed to be at work, except she didn't know I'd switched to a different shift rotation last month. Here's what caught my attention, I said, sliding across a stack of receipts. She said she was having lunch with Lisa at that new vegan place downtown, but the credit card shows charges at a steakhouse 20 miles away. Lisa's been vegetarian for years. It was the detail that didn't sit right. The PI studied the receipts, making notes of dates and locations. The blue sedan, any description of the driver? Just a silhouette, male, from what I could tell. Didn't want to get close enough to be noticed. He laid out his plan, surveillance during the suspicious time slots, photos of meetings, license plate checks, establishing patterns. All perfectly legal, all admissible if things went south. Look, he said, I know this isn't easy, but you're doing the right thing getting proof first. Seen too many cases where people rush in without evidence and regret it later. The retainer fee hurt my wallet, but not as much as the uncertainty was hurting my mind. We set up a communication system, secure emails, no texts, no calls unless absolutely necessary. As I left his office, my phone buzzed. Another message from my wife, helping Lisa paint her kitchen tonight. Don't wait up. I checked Facebook reflexively. There was Lisa, tagged in photos, at a concert 2 hours away. The PI's words rang in my head. Let me do my job. Don't confront. Don't question. Don't change your routine. The truth always comes out. We just need to be patient enough to catch it. That night at work, I couldn't focus on anything else. Every sound of a wrench dropping made me jump. My coworkers noticed something was off, but I brushed it off as a lack of sleep. In reality, I was counting the hours until the PI's first report would arrive. The first report arrived 5 days later. Photos taken through a telephoto lens showed my wife entering a hotel downtown, not with Lisa, but with a man wearing a suit. The PI included timestamps, dates, and location, all documented with the precision of someone who knew these details might matter in court. More reports followed. The blue sedan belonged to a bank manager from across town. They'd meet for long lunches at out-of-the-way restaurants, careful to choose places where they wouldn't run into anyone they knew. The private investigator captured images of them holding hands under tables, sharing intimate moments they thought no one could see. I mean, in some cases, they just didn't care. Kissing, fondling each other in public, they didn't care. Every Tuesday, like clockwork, they met at the hotel. My wife would text me about helping Lisa with some new crisis and then drive straight to him. The PI documented each meeting, each lie, building a timeline that was impossible to deny. The hardest part wasn't seeing the photos. It was going to work each night, acting normal, knowing what I knew, watching her get ready for another girls' night, listening to the same rehearsed stories about Lisa's latest drama. One photo hit particularly hard, them laughing together at a cafe where we used to have breakfast every Sunday when we both had the weekend off. She was wearing the necklace I'd given her for our anniversary. The PI's notes were clinical. Subject A and Subject B observed for approximately 90 minutes. Physical contact observed. Bill paid in cash. 3 weeks into the investigation, the PI called an unexpected meeting. I think we have everything you need, giving me a thick envelope. Inside was a complete dossier, photos, timestamps, locations, receipts, a detailed record of 6 weeks of lies. The evidence was overwhelming. Tuesday hotel meetings, Wednesday lunch dates, quick meetings in parking lots when they thought no one was watching. Each event documented with military precision. There's one more thing, the PI said, pulling out his phone. A video played, showing them walking into the hotel together. The timestamp was from 2 hours ago, during another supposed girls' night with Lisa. I sat there, staring at the final page of the report. The private investigator waited patiently, probably used to clients needing time to process. Everything I suspected was there in black and white, with color photos to back it up. What now? I asked, though I already knew the answer. That's up to you, he replied, but whatever you decide, you've got enough here to make an informed decision. I nodded, tucking the envelope into my jacket. Tomorrow would be about lawyers and decisions. Tonight was about facing reality. I waited until Saturday morning. No work, no excuses, nowhere for either of us to run. The envelope sat on the dining room table between us like a bomb waiting to detonate. I told her we needed to talk as she came downstairs. She glanced at the envelope, then at me, already getting defensive. What's that? Why don't you tell me about Tuesday night? About helping Lisa with her kitchen renovation? She launched into the rehearsed story, but I cut her off by holding up the first photo in her face, her with the bank manager entering the hotel, the timestamp clear as day. Or maybe tell me about Wednesday's lunch, the one where you were supposedly helping Lisa pick out paint colors. More photos, more evidence. Each one documented a different lie, a different betrayal. Her face went from defensive to pale as she realized how much I knew. I can explain, she started. 6 weeks, I interrupted. The PI documented 6 weeks of lies, but we both know it's been going on longer than that, hasn't it? She didn't answer, just stared at the photos spread across the counter. How long? 5 months, she said. I nodded, saying, okay. Then I slid another envelope across the counter, not the PI's envelope, a new one, legal papers inside. My lawyer drew these up yesterday. Everything split 50-50, clean break, no games, No drawn-out court battles. She picked up the papers with shaking hands. Part of me expected tears, explanations, promises to change. Instead, she just nodded. "I'll be gone by tonight," she said. "Take what you need for now. We can figure out the rest later." She went upstairs. I heard drawers opening, closet doors sliding. An hour later, she came down with 2 suitcases. At the door, she paused. "I'm sorry." "Yeah, but I'm not." After she left, I sat at the kitchen table, looking at the scattered photos. 6 weeks of surveillance had cost me nearly $6,000. The divorce would cost more. But as I gathered the evidence of her double life, I knew it was worth every penny. Sometimes the truth hurts, but not knowing hurts more. Well, sometimes finding out that your wife or husband cheated might be expensive, but you will save way more in the long run when they are no longer in your life.